Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Annabelle Spencer. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the graduate assistant for family programs. I am the moderator for tonight's event. So excited to be here. With me is tons of people, but I'll let Kara introduce herself first. She is our lovely family coordinator. So if you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do here.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Kara Williams. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the student coordinator for family programs within New Student and Family Programs office. You may or may not have seen my articles on the Mason Family Connection within Kara's Corner, but yeah, I've been hired on this past fall semester, and I'm just here to help families give a student perspective on being a student here. So nice meeting everyone.
Awesome. Okay. So tonight we are also joined by lovely members of the Mason community from the Office of the University Registrar, Student Accounts, and an advisor from the College of Science. Since the bookstore folks were not able to be here tonight, Kara will be answering their questions on their behalf. We have updated information from them and we'll just be relaying it to you. Tonight's topic, as I'm sure you're all aware, is prepping for graduation, for which these panelists will answer a set of pre-written questions, and then at the end, we will answer any questions that you all have live. Kara will be managing the chat and the Q&A function during this webinar, so while the panelists are speaking, feel free to use the Q&A button, which is next to the chat button. It should be on that bar at the bottom. The Q&A button is where you will go to ask a question. So just type in something that comes to mind or something that you may have already thought of before you got here tonight. These are the questions that we will ask live at the end. While you ask questions in the Q&A, Kara will be putting important links into the chat for you to write down or to save as well. We have live transcript and closed captioning available for those who may want that. And please note that this session will be recorded and posted to the website and our YouTube channel, so you can revisit this information at a later date. We'll also be posting an article just summing up what was talked about tonight. That will be available in the Mason Family Connection at some point next week. I'll cross my fingers that the recording will be posted soon, but keep a 2-week time frame in your head just in case. That's how long it takes to process, but soon enough, you will be able to revisit all this information. All right, so with that, we'll just get started. The first question that I have written is for Bill in Student Accounts. Before I ask you, would you mind introducing yourself, your pronouns if you're comfortable, and what you do here at Mason?
My name is Bill Cunningham, pronouns are he, him, and I am the Director of Student Fiscal Services at George Mason. I've been at Mason for 11 years.
Awesome. So great to have you here tonight,
Yeah,
Bill.
nice to be here.
Your first question is, can my student still graduate if they have an outstanding tuition balance?
Yes, so the student can walk and should go into all the circumstances and ceremonies around graduation are fine to attend. You can walk in the ceremony, walk across the stage. There's no prevention of a student being able to do that. So you won't be able to receive a diploma or order a transcript that shows that you have graduated until the balance is paid in full.
Okay, thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
You're welcome.
Sure, that's a concern on a lot of people's minds.
We do get that question a lot.
Yeah. The next question we have is for Assad, an advisor in College of Science. Would you introduce yourself, your pronouns if you're comfortable, and what you do here at Mason?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening to my fellow panelists. I see some friends here. So we do a lot of emailing, but it's good to see people's faces. My name is Assad Khan. I am the Director for Undergraduate Student Affairs in the College of Science, using he, him pronouns. I've been at Mason for 23 years. So I've seen, the university grow and love partnering with this office. So, super stoked to be here tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My first question for you is, if DegreeWorks is telling my student that they have not met the requirements of their degree, what should they do at this point?
I would say definitely contact your academic advisor. That would be the first place to start. And what may end up happening is that an academic action may need to be taken. A course that was taken, which was supposed to either substitute or maybe even waive a requirement, could be done, and then that action would be submitted to our friends in the Office of the University Registrar, who I see two of, and I send a lot of those over to. So I think that's something that could be done. There could be something, and this has happened before, is the student took all of the classes, and let's say that 73 credits are needed, but they transferred over a course that normally at Mason could be a 4-credit class, but they took it at their previous institution for 3 credits, and the number may be off, and the note might say see advisor. So that would be something that, like what we just said earlier, go see your academic advisor, and it may get, requests from them may get punted up to the dean's office, where I would then submit something. But usually any answer is going to include the academic advisor in some way. This is not one of those, oh, we're stopping you, or there's a detriment to their being able to confer their degree. It really just might be a form or an action that just needs to be taken.
Awesome. Thank you so much. When in doubt, go to your advisor, and even if you don't know what's wrong, they can figure it out.
They're definitely a great resource for students to be able to progress, and usually that's the first place I would tell students to go.
Okay, perfect. My next question is for Chris and Tyler from the Office of the University Registrar. Would you both introduce yourselves, your pronouns if you're comfortable, and what you both do here at Mason?
Hi, I'm Chris Eichler. I use he, him pronouns. I am a degree compliance specialist at the registrar's office.
Hi, I'm Tyler Dennis. I use he, him pronouns, and I am also a degree compliance specialist in the registrar office.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Tonight, obviously, you can either split, share, swap answers, however you feel comfortable. But the first one that I'm going to toss your way is, how would my student apply for graduation, and when is the deadline for that?
I'll grab the first one. So students should submit their online graduation application through Patriot Web, and the posted deadline for the spring 2024 semester is February 20th. There is a link that I believe is getting posted that has a direct link to it.
Perfect. Okay, so coming up quick, February 20th, right? That's and this is something that a student has to do in order to graduate. So definitely check with your student. It takes 2 seconds. I just did it because I'm graduating in May also. So I know, woohoo, but yeah, definitely have your student do that. Because you want to be able to celebrate them in person. Thank you so much, Chris. Next, I'm going to ask Kara, our family coordinator, the first question regarding the bookstore and regalia. So what is the deadline for my student to purchase regalia?
So students will be able to purchase their regalia from the bookstore online, and online orders will open up on March 1st. There is no deadline for bachelor's and master's students. If anyone has a question or has a PhD student and has questions about their deadline, go ahead and put that in the Q&A, and we can speak more about that later on. But the process of ordering online is very easy. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat, but remember, it won't open until March 1st. So just, keep it bookmarked for your student to purchase later on March 1st.
I also will say, I forgot to put this in the notes, but there is a program called Gowns for Grads that's really amazing, that your student can apply for if for some reason purchasing regalia, caps, gowns, tassels, all the things is not something that they feel like they can afford. There's so many different reasons that might be the case. And so there is a program called Gowns for Grads that gives students access to this for free. So they loan it out, and there's a short application process that they would go through, but definitely something that I would encourage any student to take advantage of, because it's really useful and really awesome, and why buy it when you can borrow it? So thank you, Kara, for all of that. And now I'm going to go back to student accounts with Bill. So if my student has parking tickets or other fees besides tuition, can they still graduate?
Yeah, similar to the answer if they have tuition. So other fees that they may have are like, they may have balanced the student health services or library services or a parking ticket. And so, yes, just like if you have a tuition hold, absolutely attend the ceremony. Go to all the ceremony, all the circumstances around that and the ceremony you should attend. Just like for tuition, if you just need to clear those holds to receive your diploma or a transcript confirming that you graduated. And those that hold information is available to students in Patriot Web. They'll see if they have holds. And you'll see the office where it is and the phone number to call. Just so you can't call student accounts and ask about those holds because we can't see behind them. While we know their financial holds, we don't know what they're really for or how much they are. So save yourself the time of waiting in the phone queue to call student accounts to be told you have to call this other office because we can't see behind that and know what it's for.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So if your student has a hold, they can investigate that themselves through Patriot Web, and they can still graduate. So that's all
Absolutely.
good to know. Now I'm going back to Assad. What
Sorry.
happens? Oh,
One sec before we move on.
Yeah.
I'm getting a couple messages in the Q&A saying the chat is disabled.
Kara, are you able to post in the chat?
Yeah, I'm able to post.
Okay, I think it's a one-way function so that we can send links and things out there. But for folks that are trying to type in the chat, type questions, comments, all that, put it in the Q&A because that's where we'll be able to see your feedback. Usually you can type it in a chat, but because this is technically a webinar through Zoom, use the Q&A function rather than the chat. The chat is kind of just like your notes so that you can view and click on those links that we're giving you. But if you have anything to share with us, we'll see it in the Q&A function. So thank you for asking that.
It says nothing is showing up in the chat box for them though.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Kara, will you open the chat in like the external, because it gives me, if I was going to type in the chat right now, it has that little bubble where it says to, and then either host and panelists, and you can do the drop down menu and click everyone instead.
Mm-hmm.
See if that works. Type hi, and then we'll see if that goes through to everyone.
Okay. How do you change it from to everyone?
Okay, so when you click the chat thing,
Mhm.
let's see, there's the option to like open it up in a separate window. And then at the bottom where you would type the message, it says to, and then there's that blue bar that says like hosts and panelists. Then you click it and change it to everyone. Like, let me see if I'm going to type hi and see what happens. Okay.
I don't think I can change it.
Interesting. Do you see, okay, so is the chat, sorry folks, is the chat, Kara, for you opening up as a panel on the side?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you see the little box with an arrow that points out?
Pop out, yeah. And then
Yeah,
it comes.
click that, and then the bottom bar,
Mm-hmm.
it should give you an option of who to send the chat to.
Yeah, I don't have
Okay,
that option.
that's okay. I will send the links. That's totally fine. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Anyway, back to Assad with your next question. What would happen if my student does not pass a class in their last semester? Everyone's worst fear.
Right. So Unfortunately, I mean, it does happen. And it's happened. I mean, it happens rarely, but it does happen. Now it depends if the course is earned with an insufficient grade, a not passing grade, then that may not be allowed. If there's a grade restriction needed, like it's a core class and a grade of a certain threshold or higher is needed, like I can use biology as an example. The biology core requires a C or better in all of their core classes. And if a grade of D is earned, then that doesn't meet that. So yet again, it would be another discussion with the advisor. If it's a course that was taken as an elective and the credit threshold and they've earned 120 credits, but maybe this is the 123rd credit, that may not have as much of a thing there. But a lot of our students follow the 15 times 8 math. 15 times 8 equals 120, and it's 120 credits which are needed to graduate from George Mason University. So it really does depend on the credit amount, the grade that's earned, and everything else. It is an advisor question. It could be a dean's office question, and maybe there is a grade appeal. Maybe academic policy 3.8 or 3.9 come into play. And yes, I know the catalog by heart, so I will utilize academic policy numbers. But that could be in play as well too, but ideally it's another conversation with the dean's office, and it wouldn't be so much of a grade appeal. Oh, can you please bump my grade up to this? The grade is earned, the professors put in the grade. And sometimes there might even be a mistake. We do process a lot of change of grades. So it could have been a grade change, but if the grade is earned and the grade does not meet the required grade, be it a threshold thing or be it passing, then yes, there is a chance that does not apply towards the degree evaluation or the transcript, and then graduation isn't allowed. We do have a very generous repeat course policy. It's academic policy 1.3.4 in the catalog, where the student would then withdraw their graduation application. They may need to take the course in the summer if it's offered. So there is that, but the conversations with the advisor would be paramount in this particular situation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So many different options depending on the situation. But don't try to fix it yourself. Definitely ask for help. I think that's pretty doable. Thank you. Next, we are going to go back to Chris and Tyler from the registrar. Your next question is, if my student has met the requirements of their major but not their minor, can they graduate from their minor in a future term?
I'll take that one. You cannot. You do need to finish your minor and your major in the same term. You need to finish them in the same semester. The good news is if you're in a situation where you finish your major and not your minor, you can drop your minor and have your degree conferred with just the major. If you are in that situation, you can reach out to your academic advisor and they'll help you submit the paperwork to have the minor dropped.
Okay, perfect.
I should add, not meeting your minor requirements will stop you from graduating. So your minor isn't automatically dropped if you don't meet the requirements and then attempt to graduate.
Okay, that's good to know. So you can graduate by dropping the minor, but if you leave it unsatisfied, that's a no-go. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thank you. Next, I'm going to come right back to Assad and ask you a bit of a heftier question about graduation. I know that there is a general commencement event in Eagle Bank Arena, and the individual colleges have their own slightly smaller ceremonies. Does my student have to attend both the big and the smaller ceremonies? It's required for both.
The mute button was sticking. So the question about attendance, let's talk about that first. There is the commencement, which is the university celebration that the president speaks at. The president then we have the commencement address is given. That ceremony is where the as far as who is recognized individually, the PhD students who are conferring their doctoral degrees, their they will be coming in and crossing the stage. The graduates in the master's and the bachelor's degrees will be recognized during that ceremony, but not individually. They will be asked to stand, and they have cameras roaming all over the place. They get very creative, the students do, with their caps. They do capture all those. So that is something that does happen. That is also the place where, if the student does meet that February 20th deadline, so the February 20th deadline does come into play here, generally those are the names that get passed along to the events folks, who then print the names. There is no guarantee. I'm stealing my OUR friends' thunder here. The names may not be printed in the commencement book if the graduation application is not submitted by or prior to February 20th. So that's one that's very big. The other, yes, each individual school and college does have their own ceremony. I know the College of Science one, we have ours on Friday morning at 10 a.m. of the graduation weekend, and we go all out for our students and for the celebration for our students. And yes, the students at the individual degree celebrations will be recognized. They will be coming up to the stage. They will be shaking their dean's hand. They'll also be shaking the hand of their department chair or program coordinator as well too. And then they'll be able to go. The one thing is, they're always asking, how will they know to sign my name? They'll get handed an index card. They write their name and they can put it phonetically how they want it pronounced. They can sit with their friends. There's no alpha order. There's no anything like that. If there's a friend that they've had for the last 4 years, they've been in every lab with and every class, they can sit next to them. We don't alpha it. At least we don't in the College of Science. I'm not sure if anybody else does. As far as tickets go, I know this year they have implemented a different system, but the websites that discuss degree celebrations, they will tell you when, how, and where to pick up, or there's no purchasing tickets, but it's a purchase because there's a transaction of, I'm using weird words here. There will be tickets available, and how to do it. I will say that for some degree celebrations, they full on fill up. I will call it the Patriot Center because I've been here long enough, and the Patriot Center is still my jam. But yes, at Eagle Bank Arena, they will. Sometimes they will fill up. Sometimes there will still be a few thousand seats available. So make certain that your student is getting the tickets for his or their ceremony. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
And so, yes, no, they're free, but you do have to reserve them. And depending on, like you said, every college does something different. So some may require tickets, some may not. But just keep an eye on those websites, make sure your student is doing that. And that's where you'll find the most updated information. But putting that on your radar, thank you, Assad. All good things to be thinking about and not forgetting in this period of time. Perfect. Okay. So yes, now back to Tyler and Chris and the registrar. When will my student receive their diploma?
So you will, students will receive their diplomas about 6 to 8 weeks after the conferral date. The degree conferral date for spring 24 is May 10. Students will get an email from Parchment, who's our vendor, and it will let you know when the diploma is ready to ship. And there's also a link to that just got posted. And it will also contain a link to the digital diploma.
Perfect.
One quick thing on that. Those are going to be mailed 6 to 8 weeks after not received. So if you're checking your mail 6 to 8 weeks after conferral, it's probably not going to be there. So just
Great. And PIN students should make sure that their Patriot Web address is correct, right? Because we don't want it to be sent to the hub on campus when they're long gone. Thank you both for that. I'm going to go back to Kara and ask another cap and gown regalia question. When will regalia be available for my student to pick up?
Yes, so gowns will be available in the bookstore for pickup up till and including the day of graduation. So you have a ton of time to pick it up beforehand or even day of if need be.
Perfect. That is music to a lot of people's ears, I'm sure, for any procrastinating student. They will not have to go to graduation without the green garb. Okay, thank you. So now for the final registrar question. After a graduation application is submitted, which has to be done before February 20th, how does the application review process work?
So that's a manual process. Chris, I, and the rest of the degree compliance team are going to review those applications at least twice, once during initial review during the month of March, and then again closer to the posted conferral date. During review, we're going to flag any outstanding issues that are in the student's DegreeWorks evaluation. I think you're going to post a link on how to log into DegreeWorks. Hopefully everyone knows how to do that at this point, but you have the link in case you need it. Go ahead and verify beforehand in DegreeWorks, and also make sure you meet with your academic advisor on that to resolve any outstanding issues. You do get a 6-week grace period after the conferral date to resolve any issues. Any issues that are resolved after the 6-week deadline, the student will need to reapply for graduation in that case.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure that brings a lot of clarity to people's minds. Our final pre-written question is straight back to Kara about bookstore things and final to-dos for graduation. So when is grad fair?
So if you've heard about grad fair, you probably know that it's an incredible one-stop shop for graduating seniors. That's held in person on campus for a few days during the year before graduation, where they can get more information about anything regarding graduation, including regalia, announcements, and more. This year's grad fair is going to be on February 27th to February 29th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for each of those days. So make sure to write down those dates and times. We'll also be putting them in the chat, and let your student know they should stop by and get all their things in order.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was our last pre-written question. So we are going to move into our Q&A section that has been completely popping off, and I'm so excited. So we're going to get to answer the questions that you all have asked. I'll just throw one out there, and whoever on the panel feels they can offer insight, feel free to jump in and answer. Let's see. Okay, I don't know if anyone will know this answer because we don't have anyone from housing, but graduation is May 9th. Do we know when students are required to move out of their dorms?
I can sort of answer that.
Okay.
Typically housing will indicate, and it may be on your quote unquote lease that you signed, probably has an end date on it. Usually housing will also communicate. I believe students can stay extra time if they need to. There's like a per day rate. You may ask the RA or something in your building what needs, because students sometimes do need to stay, right, for a host of reasons.
Okay.
And so there is an official move out date that is covered in the fee that you've paid for housing. Beyond that, there is a per day rate, but they'll tell you the official day to move out.
Okay, thank you. I know if I remember correctly, the official move out date is like pretty close to graduation day, which is like kind of inconvenient, but seems to be kind of how it rolls. But definitely like if students need to stay an extra week or two or however long, that is an option. They would just have to pay that daily rate. So thank you, Bill, for that. Graduation on May 9th is for all students. Is that commencement is May 9th, correct?
I was just looking at the dates.
Thank you.
So the university commencement is that Thursday, I'm pretty certain, May 9th. And then the degree celebrations, there was a link set out. So it just depends. Beginning Thursday, May 9th. So the degree celebrations for engineering and visual and performing arts are happening that Thursday, and then Friday is the sciences and the humanities and social sciences. So there's a whole website. It gives the locations and times and everything here. So I think I can put that. I think I can put that in the chat. or if not, I might send it over to you.
Okay.
Or I think you have it, but that's where it has a full on listing. The one on Thursday, yes, the commencement is for all students, whereas the individual ones are for those particular students with those majors.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So yeah, commencement is the big one in Eagle Bank, and that is for everyone. Obviously, it's not required. They're not gonna like force you to go, but that is the one that's for everyone. That is May 9th. And we will send those links. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Are there any fees that are specific to graduation? I know that you, I mean, either buy or maybe get from Gowns for Grads your regalia, but is there anything else that a student would have to pay for in order to graduate besides maybe like any leftover fees that if they wanted their diploma or their transcript?
The one thing I love about Mason is my undergrad institution, there was when you apply to graduate, there was a $20 fee associated with it. So we didn't have that. We don't have that at Mason. So yay, Mason. No, I think, I mean, Bill can answer that question. If a process is affected, they would have to be responsible for that. But other than, settling up accounts, I don't think there's any payment or anything needed outside of graduation gowns and lunch reservations.
Okay, perfect.
That's correct, yes.
I see one question, will there be another webinar for December 2024 grads? Great question. There will either be, because we tried to do a webinar for December 2023 graduates. We didn't have enough families sign up. So what we did instead was post an article with answers to all the questions that we would have asked. So one of those two things will occur if there are enough, if like a large enough number of people to justify hosting a webinar at night that you have to sit down and attend, then yes, we'll do it that way. Otherwise, we will just post it in a written form in the Mason Family Connection. But great answer or great question. Let's see. I don't know the answer to this one, but it says at grad fair, is there an option to see class ring options in person? Does anybody know that? I haven't been to a grad fair, so I wouldn't know.
I've walked past it, and they will have. There are folks there who have, like, I think it's Jostens, or
Okay.
I'm giving them a free plug here. But there are vendors who are present, and they're doing gowns, they're doing like even photo people, but like rings are shown there. So
Right.
that is definitely something, and it's usually on campus. Wherever the grad fair is being held, they have little vendor booths set up. That, at least in the past, that has been. I don't see anything different this year.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. Let's see.
If I could chime in, I see a few questions about pending paperwork. If you have like a minor declaration that you're waiting on, go ahead and apply for graduation anyway. That stuff can all be tacked on afterwards. And also, we're going to be processing any paperwork related to degree works throughout this entire semester. So if something isn't showing up on there yet, it will be by the time graduation rolls along. If for whatever reason something is still missing, like I said, around March, we're going to be doing reviews and sending out notifications to everyone to let you know if there's anything pending or missing.
And I will say that it's a lot my fault because I keep sending them requests, backlogging them, but we're all friends. So but no, that they are working really hard on that. So and even one thing that Tyler said about the email, even though the email gets sent, yes, you should still go check, the student should still go check the degree works, but it might be something that may not be able to be done until after the semester or after grades have been submitted. And then we submit something. I've submitted things like on like 3 days before graduation, like, hey, this threshold is met. Like, we're allowing this thing. So some actions may not be able to be taken until closer to graduation dates or after grades have been submitted. So there is that little piece as well too. But if your students have any questions, like I said, the advisor is still going to be a good place to start. The dean's office could be, only if it gets elevated up there, but that's, one of those things. Start with the advisor and then move on from there. But our friends from the registrar's office are definitely like working really hard. So my thumbs up to y'all for working through everything. That
Perfect. Okay. I see another one. This is actually a great question. What is the difference between university commencement and degree conferral?
So that's a great question. The university commencement is the celebratory ceremony. The degree conferral is the actual date on which we go and award the degree. That shows that you've earned a degree, and that will appear on your transcripts. So if an employer wanted to look through Student Clearinghouse or something and see did they actually earn the degree, that's the date that that occurs on.
Okay, so it's more of like an internal date. The students don't do anything on conferral date. It's just that when the process actually occurs of stamping, yes, you've graduated.
Right. That's the official date that we say so.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see. So for clarification, is attendance required for my graduate in either the commencement or the grad celebration, degree celebrations? No, they don't have to go. It's a fun hurrah for everyone to attend, but nobody is going to force them to be there. So don't feel any kind of pressure. Let's see. Okay, we answered that one already. Let's see, lots of ticketing questions. I don't know the answer to ticket questions. However, I can tell you what happened last year. I believe they didn't put a limit on it and it went crazy. And then some families got no tickets at all. So I think that's what they're trying to prevent in this cycle. I anticipate if perhaps everybody that's going gets their 5 tickets, there might be extras that would open up at a later date. That seems to be kind of what happens if anybody else has any like context from years past. But for now, I don't know if there's a way for you to get extra tickets. I know of people who are like, well, my friend's only bringing her 2 parents, so she's letting me use her other 3 tickets and things like that. For now, get your 5, reserve your 5 whenever it opens, or however many the limit is. It looks like some folks have looked and it says 5. If that's the case, get your limit, and then know that potentially down the line, more will open up, but I can't guarantee that. Let's see. Yeah, and more talk about the degree celebrations. We can put that link again into the chat. They all have different dates and times, and they're all listed there. I didn't expect them to be posted already, so that's exciting that you can kind of plan earlier. Yes, Assad.
well, so I saw one question that I was super stoked to see, only because it's pretty much my life. Somebody asked that their student was graduating in the summer, but they wanted to attend the ceremony in the fall. Every degree that I've ever earned was earned in the summer. So I have an August conferral date for every degree, but I walked in the May ceremonies. So that's totally allowed. The student will, yes, it's a celebratory time, cap and gown, photos, everything else. They just know that they have work still to do. They'll do the work, they'll finish up, but still there's a graduation application for summer term, and some students have already done that. I know it's opened. I'm not sure when the end date is, but I would say, definitely get your application in for summer 24. And that is available through Patriot Web, so the student can do that. But, still attend the ceremony. We definitely want them to do that. They just know, like I said, they have work to do. Even if the course that they're taking ends in the A session in June or the beginning of July, their degree still won't be conferred until August. The actual graduation date won't show up until August. But when I saw that question, I kind of got excited only because that was my life for a couple degrees. So I would definitely say, you know what, attend, have fun, have a great time.
Perfect.
Do the work. Yep.
Good to know.
Yep. And if you're planning to graduate in the summer but want to participate in the spring ceremony, and you still want to make sure that your name appears in the commencement bulletin, you'd want to apply to graduate for the summer by the spring 24 deadline, which is again February 20th. So it's coming up.
Okay. That's the big takeaway from tonight, February 20th, and also talk to your advisor, have your student talk to their advisor. Let's see. Can you purchase the honor and other tassels at the bookstore? Yes, and it's all online. So anything that your student is going to wear will be available for purchase. Currently, their website is sort of up to go and like order, but it's on test mode, so you can't actually like purchase anything, but you can kind of like get the layout of what they might be purchasing, how much that might be, etc. But yes, everything that they might need to wear is available there. Let's
And as
see.
far as eligibility for the cords, as grades start closing, we're going to be sending out emails both to students and the bookstore for eligibility on that. So the bookstore is going to have a running list of everyone's names. And we do send out multiple emails of that. So if you're not in the first batch for any reason, you might be in the next one.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Okay, we've answered this one. Grad fair. Oh, you go, Assad.
Sorry. There was a question because I was going through some of the
Okay.
graduation questions, and it's a fantastic question that was asked is the College of Engineering and Computing has two different ceremonies. One is for the engineering students and one is for the computing students. That's because the degrees, the attendance for those, not so much the attendance of the students on the floor, but the attendance in the bowl at the arena is so much that they've had to, separate out ceremonies. I used to be, a quick history lesson, I've been here for a long time. The College of Arts and Sciences used to be everybody in chess, in the humanities, social sciences, and the sciences. There was no way that we could ever house all of those family members and supporters and everybody else in the bowl. So the college is split, not because of graduation, but they split for other reasons. But even with humanities and social sciences, they have a humanities ceremony, they have a social sciences ceremony. And engineering has one for computing, they have one for engineering programs. So your student will know if they're a computer science major, then they're going to be in the computing one. If they're electrical engineering, they'll know which ceremony they go to. But there's a reason and a method to the madness because of crowd control and just making certain that everybody can, one, be able to participate, especially if we're going to be doing 5 tickets per student and everything else. So it's more just about making certain that family members can actually get in and not stand in the concourse and listen for their students' names, rather they can actually see it happen.
That's super good to know. I had no idea that was a thing. Someone asked, and this is also a really good question that I didn't even think to answer. They asked, are there a list of area hotels that are booked like for other schools? So yes and no, but the cool thing is that we actually get deals from the Marriott hotels. So I'm putting a link in the chat to our website that basically gives you a corporate code. The Marriott hotels and Courtyard Marriott, like all of the ones in that system. I can't exactly tell you what the deal is. I'm not really positive, but there is some information there on how you may be able to stay there maybe at a discounted rate or something like that. And there will also be shuttles, potentially. Don't quote me on that. They may just be for orientation, but they may also do something for graduation. But definitely follow that link and see if Marriott is where you were going to stay anyway, or maybe if the deal is good enough that you might stay there instead. Let's see. Okay, we answered this one. Do we know who the commencement speaker is yet? No, okay, we don't know that.
It normally gets announced maybe like a couple weeks prior to the
Okay.
ceremony. Last year's was announced early because the state representative Like,
Yeah.
no, let it be known. But I think for now, we're not waiting.
Okay.
Oh, well, we just don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
For the honor chords, you get the same chord regardless of honor level, and it is also the same regardless of your major or college.
Okay, perfect. Do we know, and this may be something that I can follow up on, because I'm assuming that this is the case, but I don't know. For folks who have handicap accommodations, are there special like tickets for commencement, degree celebration, ceremonies? I'm assuming, because I know Eagle Bank has ADA seating spaces, so I'm assuming that there would be separate tickets for that location. I just don't know if anybody knows that for sure.
Having coordinated some of the ceremonies before, and even the bigger ones at the arena, I think ticketing would still be done normally, but accommodation once inside, let the arena staff let them know, hey, we need this, or because they have certain rows, which right upon entering the portal, it can be that row directly next to the portal, or even if it's a wheelchair, they can set up right against one of the railings there. But the one thing that I can easily assure, and yes, I'm a Mason homer, I will say it, but the arena staff is fantastic. They will make certain that family members and supporters are taken care of once they're inside. As far as tickets go, that part I'm not sure, but once you're inside, the staff there will take care of all things.
Perfect, thank you. This question, I think I know the answer to, but I think Assad, you might have to pick up where I leave off. It says, if my student's been approved for graduation via the registration link, I'm assuming that's the application. They filled out the application, it's been approved. Does he still have to do anything in DegreeWorks? I would say, because I would be anxious about this, ask your advisor, make sure that you're checked off. What do you think?
The main thing is, like right now, Tyler and Chris, I think what it is, it says filed spring 24 graduation. The only thing that I would say is successful completion of coursework in the semester. And that could be meeting certain thresholds. That could be earning a passing grade. So it really just comes down to if they filed, they've done what they're supposed to on DegreeWorks, it will say their status. It'll say on there for the students when they look at it. But really it just comes down to successful completion of coursework.
Okay, perfect. Let's see.
I guess I'll just add one thing, and this isn't to complicate or anything else. When the student looks at their DegreeWorks, make certain it either says in progress or completed on there. If there's red, sometimes red is not good. So I would just say, have the student, when they look at their DegreeWorks, to make certain that there's either in progress or completed in the various blocks. So the way DegreeWorks works is there's blocks of various things, be it Mason Core, be it their major, be it their minor, general electives. Every area has its own block. Just make certain that if there's red, contact an advisor. And the red could be that an action just may have not been either processed or even submitted. And it could be a fix, but it's just one of those, have the student look directly at their DegreeWorks to make certain.
Okay.
Tyler, Chris, did I miss? I was going to say, Chris, you probably have something to add there.
Well, so on DegreeWorks, after we complete our initial review and rolling through the semester, as we receive items, we will update a graduation status that's going to be at the top of DegreeWorks. So right now, everything is going to just say, like you said, I think it just says filed, or but if everything is good to go and it's only pending the current in progress coursework, it's going to say pre-approved. If we see that there's an item missing, it will say problem identified, and then we recommend you reach out to your academic advisor for assistance moving forward.
Okay, perfect. I could be wrong about this. We have a couple people asking about law school students and regalia and things like that. The graduation, like, bookstore page says like bachelor's, master's, doctoral. Like, law students would be considered doctoral, correct? Maybe not.
Well, their ceremony is in Arlington, and they
Right.
have a different. So I would say, and it might be over there. I would say contact the law school
Okay.
folks, because that's just my thing. I would say, because they do so much work in house, and I've worked with some of the folks over there. They do a
Yeah.
lot in house. So even with the
Okay.
ceremony being on a completely different campus, I would say work with them.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, if for some reason they are considered doctoral candidates in terms of like when they purchase regalia and things, that deadline is the end of March 31st. So have them check with law school folks because they would know better than we do. But even if like they don't hear back for a little while, they're not on a pressing deadline. So end of March potentially, but definitely ask law school people. Okay, cool. Will a notice be sent to the parent page regarding getting tickets? So yes, as soon as we know, that can be on our to-do list of making sure that we are aware when tickets are available. And we can definitely make a post and maybe even send out an email if that would be helpful to the Mason Family Connection folks. So that you all can get tickets. Your student can reserve them or you can reserve them. It doesn't really matter, I believe. And worst case, if your student has to reserve them, then you can just forward them the email that we send you and then blow up their phone until they do it. Let's see. Maybe do a couple more. Is there anybody that, or any questions that you all see in there that you think we haven't answered that may be important? Think a lot.
I see one that says, does registering for graduation cover both registering for the ceremony, walking across the stage, as well as having your record reviewed for graduation? So those are different processes, and they have different applications. So the one that is submitted, one of the earliest ones we posted through Patriot Web that's applying for graduation is you submitting a graduation application to have your degree conferred. I'm not as familiar with the commencement registration.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think you have to register for commencement, do you? Okay.
Nope. Oh, great.
The only people that would, I'm not sure if any family members for PhD students are there, because the PhD students will be announced and presented there, at least their diploma holder. They would need to. Anybody who's graduating with a PhD, so I'm not sure if there's any PhD family members here, but if there's family members for either master's or bachelor's degree candidates, then I don't think any sort of RSVPing or anything else like that would be done. Some of the individual folks might, for planning purposes. I know for us, we order food based off of that, but some people will say, "Hey, we're bringing 18 people," and they bring 3. We have lots of meatballs left over, so if anybody's on campus that day, come over for lunch. But that's pretty much it. But as far as like registering goes, only PhD folks would really need to make certain that they have RSVP'd and said that they indeed are coming.
Okay, perfect. And I know we sort of touched on this, Assad, but if someone is taking their last class over the summer, they would still submit their graduation application prior to February 20th, correct?
The takeaway, yes. February 20th is a good date to know.
Okay.
So yeah, so do that, and then as Chris mentioned, it could be then the name could still have a chance to get put in the program. So summer 2024. So it's fine to attend in May, but do the work in June, July, August.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So the last one that I'm gonna bring up is someone asked if you're able to rent regalia rather than purchasing it. And the short answer is kind of. I'm gonna put a question or a link in the chat for the Gowns for Grads program that I told you about. This isn't renting because it's free, but it's also not buying because you don't get to keep it. So you apply for this program, you basically tell them the reasons why, or your student would apply. They would say like, I would love to borrow this regalia for XYZ reason. They'll approve it, and then you would borrow your outfit and then give it back so that they can do the same for folks in another year. So yes, it's even cheaper than renting because you don't have to pay for it. But okay, so I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. For those of you that have stuck around this long, thank you so much. You're such troopers. I am going to launch a quick poll for all of our attendees. So it's super quick. If you would take a minute just to respond to 3 questions, this really helps us make sure that our family support series are effective and that they are actually giving you the information that you want. So take a few minutes and respond honestly, good, bad, anything. We want to hear it. I also just want to remind folks that if you missed a link, if you had a question that you don't remember if it was answered, this was recorded, and so it will eventually be posted on our YouTube channel. Like I said before, expect or prepare yourself for maybe a week or 2 from now, but in my brain, I'm hoping and I think that it's going to be up sooner than that. We just have to wait for our ATI folks to process it. Yeah, I will also be posting next week a summary article in the Mason Family Connection with all of these important links that were shared and kind of our high points of really popular questions that were asked as another summary. And so, yeah, if anything else comes up, feel free to email us at families@mason or at gmu.edu. If we don't have the answer, we can certainly connect you with the person that would. And lastly, I would just love to thank all of our panelists for their knowledge and expertise in tonight's session. You are so appreciated, especially on a Thursday night. With all of your outside responsibilities, we are just so thankful to have you in our corner, helping families and supporters be there for their students. I also just want to highlight one of our upcoming family support series. It'll be surrounding scholarships and other tools that students can use to fund their education. We're going to be hosting it with a current Mason student who works for the First Gen Plus office. It's going to be held on March 5th at 7 p.m. So keep an eye out for that registration. But without further ado, have a great night. And thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you in the future.